The Houston Texans finally put one in the win column with a shutout victory of the Tennessee Titans, 26-0 on Sunday at NRG Stadium. First time the Texans have shut an opponent out since 2010. We'll get to the four big takeaways from this one here in just a moment. It's important to get that win in the win column because there's only been one team since 1990 that has come from 0-4 to make the playoffs. That was the 1992 Chargers. You don't need to know about them. The Texans aren't 0-4. They're 1-3. And 5 teams since 2020 have gone from 1-3 to making the playoffs that season. 2020, of course, when they did the expanded playoffs, 7 playoff teams. So the Texans on the right track towards that. You had to get that first win before you could start stacking the rest of them, and you had to beat who's on the schedule before you look ahead to the Baltimore Ravens, the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, the Denver Broncos, all those. You had to take care of the Tennessee Titans, and take care of them is exactly what the Texans did. We'll talk about the defense and the rookies here, but number 1 and number 2 is the slow start to the offense and then that big key moment to the offense. So cheating here, combining 2 of the big observations into one because it kind of all plays to itself. I mean, let's not be around the bush here. This offense looked like the offense of the first 3 weeks through the first 3 or so quarters of this game. It was that same old early down slop where nobody was taking care of their business. Nobody was, as D'Amico Ryan's putting it, straining to the point that they needed. They weren't executing to the point that they needed to. And it was that slop on early downs, the check downs, the throws behind the sticks on third down. It was not good. And even though they were able to make their way down the field and put a couple of field goals on the board, you've going to have to eventually turn those early struggles into points. You're going to need more than 3s in the first half to get things done over the rest of this schedule, over the course of this schedule. But to see it finally turn and to see it execute the way that they intend it to have it look the way that they wanted it, and have the various elements of this offense that are supposed to be good show up and have that be the reason the offense got going there late in the third into the fourth quarter and so on. That was nice to see, but they still had some tough times protecting CJ Stroud. He still got pressured a little bit too much. He took that big hit in the midsection at one point, and he kind of laid on the ground, and it looked like the wind maybe got knocked out of him. Stroud said, hey, I'm tough. I'm not that tough. I'd rather not take him, but you got to get up and you got to play through that. I actually didn't love keeping him in the game right there because didn't feel like a guy that was going to go and throw a pass there on the very next down after he got smoked like that. So the Titans were ready for that next play, but it was still that disjointed, oh man, Stroud missed a Dalton Schultz throw at one point. There was another one where he was a little bit off with Christian Kirk. There was a miscommunication. It was still that stop and start, that not enough with the offense. And then it got really bad, honestly. The offense was stinking, and then they got the 2 penalties that made it 1st and 30. Then it was 2nd and 33 after they ran the football, and I'm sitting there, and I don't have a lot of hair, but I was pulling on it, and I was like, why are you throwing the football on 1st down? You can't get a defensive holding penalty. You can't get a pass interference, like a wipe away these yards, and you're not going to get where you need to go. And don't run a give-up play on 1st down when it's 1st and 30. And that's kind of what it felt like they were doing. And then on 2nd and 33, CJ Stroud dropped back. He looked to his left. He saw Nico Collins, and he made one of those throws. It wasn't one of those CJ Stroud tries to place it to his receiver. It was one of those throws. He saw it. He ripped it. His guy was open for about that much time. He got the ball in Nico Collins' hand, and they convert 2nd and 33, and the offense took off from there. And CJ Stroud talked about it after the game. He said that felt like they turned a corner. with this offense. That felt like they found a way to get the spark going and then keep it going throughout the course of the rest of that game. And that can be, they got to build on it, but that can be a seminal moment, an important moment in this season, because Stroud said it all kind of unfurled and they did exactly what they wanted to do. And the offensive line that wasn't moving the pile in the first half and wasn't protecting CJ Stroud well in the first half, they got it going there in the late third and into the fourth quarter. And they put together 3 scoring drives in that stretch. Again, it's the Tennessee Titans, but you play who's there. And for this offense, you needed to see a semblance of something. And then you started to see them throw the ball to Woody Marks. He had the touchdown reception. You saw them give the ball more to Woody Marks. Again, about Woody Marks and the rookies here in a second. You saw a slot receiver score a touchdown. That touchdown comes via CJ Stroud making a check at the line of scrimmage that DeMeco Ryans said, and CJ Stroud confirmed. He saw something in the way the Titans were operating. It's like, you're starting to see those pieces of how they want things to look on offense, and then it looked good, and they put a bunch of them together, and they were able to sustain drives, keep the offense on the field. And as DeMeco Ryans had pointed out once earlier this week, they had not run a lot of plays. You have to run plays. You have to get first downs. You have to sustain drives. And I know they did it to an extent a little bit in the first half. They went forward on some fourth downs after some really crappy third down luck. But ultimately, to do that and put points on the board via touchdowns, not just end up and kicking the field goal with Kaimi Fairbairn, to have that happen, that was a really nice bit of staying with it, coaching, hitting the things that they are good at, because once Nico Collins kind of opens things up, it did feel like they had some area to throw the ball. They were getting the ball out quick. They were worried about getting the ball out quickly and short and letting guys make plays. And then they mixed in the running game with both Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, because Chubb had a couple of runs here and there late in the game. But it finally looked like it was supposed to look like. And I know it's not the toughest opponent for it to look right, but we were sitting here through 3 weeks wondering if it was ever going to look right. So for it to look right against this opponent and have the opportunity to build on it, look, you're going to have to play even better than you did today as an offense if you want to beat the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore next week. Like, you're not going to be able to go out there and have a slow start against them like you did the Tennessee Titans. You're not going to be able to have threes early on and have enough at the end to beat the Baltimore Ravens. And that's going to be a much tougher defense that you're going to go against. But when they are blocking well, moving guys around on the line of scrimmage, Stroud's getting the ball out quickly, and then the confidence, it just felt like throughout the course of this game, even when they had a little bit of the early struggles, but certainly once he hit Nico Collins, it felt like CJ Stroud understood things like it was Neo in the Matrix. He was seeing the numbers, like he could see the answers to the test coming up off of the page, so to speak, and they were able to get the ball down the field, hit some explosive plays, trust the rushing attack, and obviously put points on the board. Woody Marks with a couple of touchdowns, one receiving, one rushing. Fantastic to see from him. Jaden Higgins, the other one, but that Nico Collins play. And Stroud likened it to 2023 when he hit a big play to Tank Dell, and he felt like, I get it. I understand it. Let's go. Let's really take off here as an offense. He likened that Nico Collins 2nd and 33 conversion to that Tank Dell reception in 2023. I sure as hell hope he's right. I'm sure as hell hope that that's the jet taking off and they're going to be able to get things going consistently through the air. It's nice that they've got the run game and they move some bodies on the ground. That's good. They're going to need to throw the ball, get big chunk plays, have explosives, and put points on the board through the air if they want to go to the playoffs, if they want to be the 6th team in the history of the NFL since 2020 to make the playoffs after starting 1-3. They've got to build on this. What worked? Let's see it again. Don't go back to the slop on early downs. Don't go back to checking it down to Dalton Schultz for 4 yards when you needed 7 yards on third down. What worked find out how to bottle that and carry it into Baltimore. And then if you can do that and you have success offensively in Baltimore, maybe that jet is indeed taken off on the runway. You can get something going out of the bye week for this team. But the offense is slow start, sticking with it. We just got to execute better. We got to block better, stress, strain. Yeah. They did it, and it turned finally for them. It can't turn back if they're going to have any success. So it finally turned for them. It can't turn back, or we'll all be back on Fire Nick Caley watch. We'll all be back on his CJ the Guy watch. We'll all be back on why did Nick Caserio build this offensive line. There's plenty of things to criticize when it goes bad, and it looked like it was headed that way until they turned it around and they flipped the switch. Now, we shouldn't ignore that early slop on first down and the check downs. Still got to kind of get rid of that, get that out of there, get that rhythm going, turn those threes into sevens, and sustain some of that offense that you saw in the fourth quarter throughout the course of the game. If they could play a full, complete game on offense, they can hang with a lot of people because this defense is going to do their job. Let's talk about the defense. First shutout for the organization since 2010, and I know they got a little help because Joey Sly, the kicker guy, missed 2, but man, this is what this defense can do. It just suffocates people. And even though it was 3-0 and 6-0, and then Kaimi misses a field goal, it's still 6-0. Even when it's just 12-0 and the Titans could be a couple plays away from taking the lead or tying it up, whatever it is, you didn't really feel like they were getting anything consistently going against the Texans. The Texans didn't allow much on the ground in this matchup. They were pressuring Cam Ward, and man, that coverage was really solid. I know the Titans had some success on that first drive. Io Maynor hit a big play on one where Ward kind of got away, but defensive line did a good job. They had a couple of hiccups in tackling, but they ratcheted it down and figured it out from that standpoint. And I liked the way D'Amico Ryans talked about the coverage in the postgame. I asked him, I go, hey, is this kind of that type of game where you tell the defense, hey, look, guys, this is what you can do when you do what you're supposed to do? We heard a lot this week about how maybe somebody at safety didn't do what they were supposed to do. And D'Amico Ryans said it best. No grenades going off is what he said. With the defense, nobody's running free. Everybody was disciplined and where they were supposed to be. It's nice to see that on the back end. And MJ Stewart right away. A pass breakup. C.J. Gardner-Johnson had none of those through 3 games. MJ Stewart in his first start early on got his first pass breakup of the season. He also laid the wood a little bit later on in the game. Sure, there's still a couple of tackling hiccups, and I'd have loved to see Will Anderson a little bit more today in the backfield when it's this tackle situation, but Danielle Hunter gets you 2 sacks. Tim Settle had another nice game as well. Tommy Togiai gets the big mitt up and has the pass deflected or defensed at the line of scrimmage. So that was nice from him. So good play from all 3 levels of this defense. And I would be remiss if I didn't say, attaboy, Derek Stingley guts it out, practices in like a limited practice a little bit on Friday, and then decides to go in this one. And when you know it, has an interception, brings it back the other way. Some really good coverage moments from this defense. Rushed the passer really well as well. So good job there by the defense in this one. We'll get to the rookies here in just a moment because we may need to start talking about them when we start putting together our sleeper entries. And Sleeper, of course, the sponsor of this video. Happy to have them along for football season. It's daily fantasy. You're putting a couple predictions together. You put your entry fee in, and if you get them all, you multiply your money. We were close this week. We didn't put any winners together, but stay with me. I feel pretty good about our chances to put some together over the course of the season. When you want to sign up with my code Stoots, STOOTS is the code. There's a link in the description down below as well. And when you get signed up, you're going to get a deposit match up to $100. So you put in 100, get 100 to play with. You put in 50, get an extra 50. Put in 10, get an extra 10. You can go out there and you put $5 a time. That's how I like to do it with a daily fantasy. It makes the games a little bit more interesting. You got a little bit more of a rooting interest, especially if your team's not playing. They got baseball, basketball season will be here before you know it. And Sleeper app is also a great scores app. I don't like the 4-letter network scores app anymore. I like the Sleeper scores app. It's got everything. You can even move your fantasy football leagues over there. Yeah, Sleeper does it all. And I want you to get signed up. Download the app. Sign up today with my code Stoots, STOOTS. Terms and conditions do apply. Check out Sleeper's terms and conditions. And they're operational in over 25 states. Use that code Stoots, STOOTS, when you get signed up. Now let's talk about my babies. Let's talk about the rookies. 2 players that I really liked in this year's draft. 2 players that I really felt could help the Houston Texans in 2025. And 2 players that had a really slow start to helping out the Houston Texans, but you could see it kind of building, more so with Woody Marks. By about week 3 or so of training camp, he was kind of sort of getting it, so to speak. He felt like he was understanding the operation of how he needed to operate things, and he started to see it in these first few games, and we would all wonder, can we get more Woody? Will there be more Woody Marks? And finally, the Houston Texans offense turned over the rushing trust to Woody Marks, and wouldn't you know it, the rookie paid off for them. I liked how CJ Stroud talked about Woody Marks in the postgame. He said, I liked Woody a lot at USC, and I felt like we called some plays that were similar to how he was used at USC, getting in the ball out of the backfield, and some of the run plays that Woody Marks had. There was one play in particular. He turned a for sure loss or no gain into about 6 or 7 yards just by a little bit of motion back there with his ability to make guys miss and kind of extend plays. He can take a play better than Nick Chubb and kind of string it out along a little bit more and get it outside and try to maximize. He showed some shiftiness on the inside. He had the rush on a 4th down that got him a 1st down at one point as well. So I was maybe a little low on Woody Marks despite him being one of my favorites. I thought he's a perfect complement for Joe Mixon, but with no Mixon in the equation, I wasn't sure if Woody Marks was going to be able to handle the load. Let me tell you, this Woody can handle the load, and he can bring the boom. Just ask that one Titans pass rusher that Woody Marks not only leveled, but he stayed on top of the guy and let him know exactly what had happened in case that defender was confused. They got to keep Woody Marks in there. They've got to have him in there as the top running back for this team going forward. And then they utilize and slip in Nick Chubb as needed. You want to hammer in some situations. You want a little bit of a veteran presence to mix in with Woody Marks. Be my guest, but I wouldn't take 27 off the football field unless 27 needed 32 ounces of Gatorade. Okay? If Woody Marks needs off, then Nick Chubb goes in. But outside of that, he can pass block, so you can leave him out there on 3rd down. He can catch the ball, so you can put him out there and 1st and long, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and well, he can run well, too. We showed that against the Tennessee Titans. It's going to be tougher against the Baltimore Ravens, but I like where Woody Marks is headed. A fantastic day for him. And Jaden Higgins. Now, this one's, yes, about Jaden Higgins. He ran an excellent route to get open and had a great catch, ripped that thing out of the air. Touchdown, first TD of his career. Good job, Jaden Higgins. 2 things about that. One, it's putting the rookie in a situation to succeed. In the slot, Jaden Higgins was lined up in the slot. Big body slot guy. Man, where have I seen that before? Oh, Los Angeles, the Rams. They like to put bigger bodies in the slot, like Puka Nacua, bigger than your typical short slot receiver. Go out there and have some success with them. So getting a big body like Jaden Higgins in the slot and having him catch a touchdown because he just hit a nice move and ran past the defense, that's some LA stuff from Nick Caley. We hadn't seen much of the Rams' influence on Nick Caley's offense, but that slot Jaden Higgins touchdown is some LA influence for Nick Caley. So I really like that element of it. The other element of it, hey, D'Amico Ryans, CJ Stroud talked about it. Stroud saw what was happening, estimated what was going to occur with the Tennessee Titans, made the change at the line of scrimmage, and found Jaden Higgins. And if you watch that play, Stroud sees it. He's like, oh, Higgins is going to take care of his business. And boom, gets it out there to his rookie wide receiver for the touchdown. Another excellent throw. Again, CJ gets in a rhythm. When he's feeling it, he is a really good quarterback. You just got to get him in that rhythm and get him feeling it. And once he was in there, I mean, Nick Caley was calling a pretty good game. I wasn't bitching when they were scoring 3 straight touchdowns and using the rookies and getting the ball to Jaden Higgins and matriculating down the field and not avoiding many of those negative plays. So good job on that one. Not so much for Higgins, but the rookie being involved in the slot and the quarterback making the adjustment at the line of scrimmage to call the play to get the rookie open. I love that element about it too. Those are my 4 big takeaways with some other things smattered in there. What were your big takeaways in this game? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, how about a thumbs up on the video? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Of course, don't forget myself and Landry Locker with SNL each and every weekday live. We'll be live Monday afternoon, and then Landry and I will be back for the Texans Collective Monday evening. So you got plenty here, and I'm sure the locker room's knocked out an hour plus of postgame, so check that out if you haven't seen that as well. Man, feels good to finally see them get a victory. Okay, and as CJ Stroud said, you can't overrate this one. Got to flush it and move on to the next one. You don't want to ride the high off beating the worst team in football, the Tennessee Titans, but it was good that the Texans took care of their business. I appreciate you taking care of me by watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.